What's more important? In a small company with a good role or a big company with an average role?
If you want to be the sole decision maker and if you want to be the driver of that project, then you have to go and work, startup. The concept of virtualization is really well used in AWS.
Hackathons is the single best way to get connections.
This is the problem, of our generation. We have so much information to consume.
Hello, Fida, and welcome to Besides the Obvious.
Hello.
So, the questions I'm going to be asking you today, they might sound really simple or even silly at moments, but I would want to get to know more about what you're doing and the details. So, I'm really glad that we're having this podcast, first of all. I've been wanting to understand what Cloud Club Captain is and all about that, what the role that you play. So would you be willing to, tell me about it?
Yes, sure. For starters, hello everyone. This is Fida Khandri. Professionally, I work at Wellington right now as a full stack LMS developer. And when I see at the educational side, I'm his classmate and a very dear friend of mine, Shayaan. Studying, I am doing my majors in networks, pure softwares. And this is also one of the main reasons why we pivoted towards, especially me and my liking towards the whole cloud scene happened. If I talk about like the root of the journey, it's almost coming towards the end, by the way. When I roll back a year, I got this very, very randomly. I got called to my professor's cabin, and she just flipped her computer and she was like, "Look at this. There is an opening. There's a really nice opportunity, a really nice initiative under AWS, and like they're like literally." I especially was like zero. There was zero awareness about this whole thing. She just gave me a random deadline for a week. I prepared whatever. I did not even know the full form of AWS actually. By then, I was like extremely unaware about the whole thing. Got the thing done, prepared, and I just randomly shot my application. Got selected. Then we prepared for an interview. I think I'm talking about after a month of this application. We got connected to the advocacy team. So they're based in Seattle, USA. And slowly, as I came into the scene, I got to know that we're the only club in UAE. So that was one hook that we took up whenever we talked about marketing, whenever we talked about anything that we started. Our main hook was because we're the only one in UAE. So that gave us a lot of leverage. Then got connected to the insane community. So the whole AWS ecosystem is divided into like experts. So we have like AWS heroes, we have AWS solution architects, we have DevOps engineers, we have heroes. So heroes is also one of the whole category. After the captains, you go to user clubs, user groups, and then you have heroes. So it depends on the level of expertise and certifications you have in there. So obviously we're in the ground zero level right now, the captain level. So as you have like a 1 year of tenure as a captain, you get to make your own club at the base university or the institution that you're working at or studying at. And then there's insane support from the whole community, by the way. The whole system works on like points and badging system. So you do events, you do it for yourself basically. You do for self-learning and then co-learning. You do events, you get points, and then you can shop with those swag points and get yourselves like goodies. And like I'm talking about all sorts of goodies, like everything that will motivate our little hearts into doing like new. So we went from like normal introductory sessions with a capacity of 15 to 20. Right now we're looking at a community that's 300 plus. From like panel discussions, we had guest lectures
So
on.
you're talking about the whole club? It's like around 300 people?
Yes, like the Mahe Club, the only Mahe Club.
Okay.
Like currently, if you see, when I got onboarded as a captain, there was only 110 clubs. Right now, at the end of my tenure, we're already looking at 600 clubs. So that many got enrolled. Yeah, so it's insane ecosystem. And like if you're actually into tech and if you're really passionate about it, this is like the best platform that could take you from, this is like best startup that could happen to you. Like from here you have like insane amount of supports, from like vouchers to everything that you can get, guides, everything for free also, by the way. So you get like everything for free. You're interested, this is like the best thing that you could get, like for push up.
Okay. And what would the role be of AWS captain apart from just the student ambassador of the university or the school they are participating for? What would the other roles be? Is there any other role, or
Yes.
is it just that?
See, mainly it depends person to person. All right, I've seen captains who are extremely dormant into the system, and then there are captains who have launched, done projects with current experts in the industry. The amount of resources you have at hand as a student captain is insane. You should just have the knowledge to use it, right? You should have the like the the drive to get there. That's it. It's person to person. There are few captains right now who have already launched live projects and are like currently working with the official AWS teams, working with clients while they're studying their bachelor's or master's. So if you want to do something, it's just like ask and get. Literally, it's ask and get. You will never be served on your table, but you explore around and like they're more than willing to help. That's been my experience so far.
So, does it just revolve around cloud, or is it expanding to other, departments too, like AI and networks, or is it just cloud?
See-
Because it's called Cloud Captain.
Okay, fair enough. It's called Cloud Captain because the main industry, like the AWS main industry, is about cloud computing. Basically, when you talk about cloud, you have major branches onto it. So you have compute, you have network, you have storage, you have security, right? So these are the four main branches. Even when you're like, when you see the people, professionals inside all of these fields, they have different titles. They are DevOps engineer, okay? They are under cloud, obviously, but they all have different niche, different certifications and different qualifications you need to like address. Because when you're talking about a whole architecture, obviously there's so many components that you have to look at, and all of these components require different professionals to handle. Like obviously, if you guys like are aware about the recent calamity that happened unsaid, and we had like two of our AZs bombed and like got ground on into two in UAE, one in Bahrain. So the surge of I would say the operations engineer went so high, the demand for the solution architects and demand for hazard engineers went so high. So yeah, it depends on the market as well. Yes, it's mainly cloud, but within the cloud, you have AI and DevOps, you have web development, you have DevOps. Yeah, there are different branches under cloud.
Okay. Let's say that I'm passionate to become a cloud captain too. Would there be any tips you would, suggest me?
All right. The the only first and the foremost criteria to become a Cloud Club captain is that you have to be enrolled in any course. You have to be either in a bachelor's program or a master's program, or registered under an education institute. That's the main thing, right? You cannot do it after you're graduated and you're doing something else in your life professionally, and then you cannot run a club. That has to fall under an institute. If you want to do it, separately. If you're not a student and you want to be around the thing, then there is something called user groups. Okay, right? User groups also revolve around the same thing. Okay, main crux is same, but you have more professional people into it. You have more professional events, and like yeah, they're also supported by AWS. So yeah, that's the main eligibility criteria. Second, I would say you have to have insane handling capacity. Okay, you have so many things that you have to juggle side by side. You cannot keep it as a side hustle, handling the AWS Cloud Club, because the structuring of the club rules have happened in a way that if you do not, at the start of the month, start of your enrollment, if you do not do an activity or any sorts of event within the first 3 months, you're already taken. You're actually backed off. You're actually given your resignation letter. By the way, you're given your offboarding letter if you don't do it. So yeah, the part is it'll restrict to keep you on track basically. And if you're not very active in after that first event, you're not active for 1.5 months, you're listed as the dormant captains, not as active captains. And so yeah, obviously it affects the communication channel. All of it depends how the advocacy team behaves with you, how much of open up or how much more opportunities are pushed towards you, depends if you're an active and not a dormant captain. So yeah, main thing is you have to have the ability to juggle between stuff and balance between your course, degrees, exams, and then the club, the logistics. A main thing I would say is to create a very, very strong core team. And I'm not talking about quantity. Do not like hire many people. It's going to ruin it. Have like 4 people with you, literally, and like so close to you that like especially my team, that's what I experienced is things have gone wrong and have fallen and like to a point that we think okay, it's done. But I have not gotten informed about it, and they've handled it behind my back. They've handled it really well, and I've gotten to know about these problems after everything's done. They were also throughout my 1 year tenure, I had periods when I had to fly out of the country. I was not physically available. I had mentorship period to complete as well. So I was not on campus, but the team took over as a pro. So this is the thing. You need to have an extremely trusting team. Obviously, you have to be the driver. Okay, you have to put in ideas. You have to feed their motivation in. You have to do all of that stuff. But like they should be the absorbers of it. If the energy is not matching and you were too enthusiastic, but your club is like, yeah, it's not happening, then I don't think the success metrics
So you're saying that the club should work in autopilot too when you're not available?
Yes, yes, for sure. Like the total dependency on a leader is actually a very red flag for a club, I would say, especially at an age or a stage of life where we are. The people you're gonna have to be working as, they can never be solely dependent on you. That's a very wrong thing.
That's true.
Even on a professional settings, it shouldn't be like that. If you're gone, the whole workplace should crash down. It shouldn't be like that. You have to hire people equivalent of skills. So yeah.
Okay, one last AWS question. What makes AWS different from other cloud competitors, because I have been using Google for a long time and I did not even know AWS was, doing the whole cloud architecture. But what makes AWS different from,
See,
competitors?
First of all, mainly the first and foremost point is whenever you're taking any services, right? Be it B2B, be it B2C, be it C2C, anyone who's taking a service, who's purchasing a service, okay, when I'm talking about from student to the highest professional level, anyone purchasing a service will look at it costs. Everyone looks at its cost. Amazon is the cheapest cloud solution services that could give it. The model that it's designed around, the pay-as-you-go model that it's designed around, it has a very intelligent system as to only records the hours of compute that you've spent on the service. The extreme niche, like when I'm talking about, I've only used like 3 GB out of the 8 GB that they provided to me. They're only charging me for 3 GB. They will not charge me. You don't have to buy a whole chunk and then use some of it or whatever. You start from zero, and even if you just use 0.5, you're going to be charged only that much. That's the main idea of the pay-as-you-go model. That's one part. Second, the extreme high availability I have not seen, and like statistically it's been proven that no other cloud providers have extreme high availability. Like so, we already also experienced, again, coming back to the same scenario when the availability zones went down. We had insane big services getting affected. We had banks, we had Kareem, one of the famous apps that only runs on AWS, gone down, but within 24 hours or less than that, everything was backed up. It's because we have so many availability zones around the globe, and multiple of the locations are unknown. There are places like that. Only the cloud providers or only the cloud heads know the location of the AZ. That is the second point. Yeah. Third point, I would say that the amount of variations of services you get, like you want this, but this, but this, and not that. The bundles that they provide.
Could you give an example?
There are so many type of EC2 instances, for example. Okay, what is EC2 is basically containers, right? That's how you store stuff. Like S3 also, it's also storage services. Fine, you store stuff. The amount of variations of, if you want your storage, you want a kind of a storage where you will be accessing your product like a continuous or like simultaneously. You have a separate service for that. Let's say you want a storage that is going to be staying dormant. You're not going to be accessing your thing. You just want like a backup. There's a different service for that. There's a service if you want like half of it to be relying on this and half of it to be relying on that. There are more than 200 services right now.
Alone?
200, more than 200 services right now on AWS, which I also cannot name. And I think.
And you could just take like anything out of them.
Any of it.
Okay. Getting back to the cheap pricing, how do you think it's achieved for AWS? How is the cheap pricing achieved?
It's the concept of virtualization, okay? The concept of virtualization is really well used in AWS. So when I explain you in layman's term, when I explain you what is virtualization, basically you will have one set of hardware, okay? That same set of hardware is used and divided into logically multiple hardwares where the end user will never know what hardware they're using or where their computing power is fetched from. In real time, there's only one set of hardware that is actually powering n number of users. The power of virtualization, when you, for example, I'll give it to you. You said you use Google, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you make a Gmail account, you get a 15 GB of storage on your Gmail, correct?
Yeah.
Right. Now you get allocated 15 GB, but when does it get full? Years later,
yeah.
Okay. Let's say, for example, you're only going to be using 5 GB or 7 GB out of it. And then there are millions of users who've made Gmail accounts. Do you think in real time you have 15 GB given to each user in that data center? No. Right?
That's not true?
That is not true. You're just shown 15 GB and it is only fetched at the time when you request it. You're just shown 15. Obviously, 15 GB is when you get it. You will get 15 GB, that's promised, and that's not a lie. But when you actually request that 15 GB, when you have that much storage to be done, as you request, the storage keeps getting allocated to you. There's no way like, okay, 15 GB for Shayaan in Dubai, 15 GB for like XYZ in
I'm so
UK.
shocked. I did not know this.
There's no allocation. The whole system works on virtualization. That is where my point comes. The cheap part of AWS is achieved by extreme pure usage of virtualization, and the way they achieved it is really nice. Like the way they have gotten into this industry and they captured it.
Do you plan to work in AWS after?
Hopefully, inshallah, if things go the way it's planned. I mean, obviously you have to have a backup plan, a fallback plan. But yeah, for now, all my efforts are aligned towards getting into the AWS industry. Yeah, hopefully, inshallah.
Okay. So, would there be any kind of tips you would give for students that are like in first year and second year to maybe achieve really good opportunities and good internships in really good companies like AWS and Google? Would there be anything?
Okay, see, I'm not an extremely experienced person to answer that, but having done things so far, I would say just like I would not recommend people being extremely lazy on this 3-4 years on your campus. Like, do not just go slag your time in canteen. Take lectures, don't take lectures, and come back home. I mean, obviously, it is the time of your life. Have a lot of fun with your friends. But what I'm trying to say here is, college or university is the only place you're gonna get opportunities given to you. Okay, as soon as you exit that place, you will be like a beggar finding opportunities. All right, that's one thing all the students really need to understand, because I found it the hard way as well. The things that there are like served to us, these things we will have to go dig out in the real world, find, and with extremely hard people. I'm talking about people who are not ready to negotiate. I'm talking about people who are like just looking money makers. Yeah, it's not even their fault. That's what they are there for. Why would they give you a chance? Why would they give you an opportunity? And university or college is the only place you'll actually get it for free, given to you. So just take that, take the bait. And that is also how I landed my internships. Both internships in summer that I did last year was because I got into a hackathon that was given. We were together on the hackathon.
I feel like hackathons is
Yes,
the
amazing.
single best way to get connections. So a person or like a student who is in their first year, second year, you have to go into
I think third,
at
fourth year.
least at least 10 hackathons throughout the academic year
Yes, it's bare minimum. Yes.
to get connections.
Hackathons, exhibitions, lectures. There's so many seminars happening. So many things. There's so much. This is the problem, of our generation. We have so much information to consume. Like 5 minutes on Instagram scrolling, or like living in a such fast-paced city. We have so many things around happening that we are aware, but we're not aware how to actually process it inside. So there's a lot of information to consume. That is the problem like we have. And then that's the comparison with our parents' generation. They had very few options, and that's why they went all in. We have so many options that we don't know where to go. So like probably just like choose your niche. That is also one thing that my parents kept saying. When we had to choose our electives, I really wanted to go in robotics. Okay. And like my father was like, "You're just doing it for fun, I know." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I just want to make robots and have fun in the lab with my friends and stuff." And he was like, "If you know you're doing it only for fun and you're not going to take it as a career, then why are you wasting a whole of your subject where you could have taken?" So I just literally switched it and took like system admins, because that is where I'm aiming. That is where that is where I have to go. I have to go in cyber security. I have to go in the network situation. Then I will take all the subjects aligning to it. So go in a niche. Stop like being like, master of all jacks. What is it? Trade of all. What is it?
I have no idea.
Master, jack of all trades, master of none. Like probably after this stage of life, I also have a lot of hobbies and I have curiosity across so many things. Obviously learn it, but when I'm saying you have to focus on a vertical and do not just keep going horizontal. Like there's insane amount of information. Just choose one and just stick to that.
Okay. I have this this is my personal question, and I have no answer for this. So like I'm just gonna go ask this to you. Do you think working in a big company is more important than working in a good role? What's more important? In a small company with a good role, or a big company with an average role?
Okay. So like there's like a MNC versus startup question.
Yeah.
What is it?
Because you're working in a startup.
Yes.
And your role is really good.
Yes.
Right now.
Just like this also depends on personally. Okay, like you have to see your situation. Ask yourself, what do you want? Do you want exposure? Do you want money? Okay. Do you want professional enhancement? See, my reason of choosing startup was it gives you insane flexibility of work. That is a very big thing. For all the startups, you have insane flexibility of working. And I am currently also a university student. So that was like my biggest valuation to choosing that company. When I previously mentioned that I had two internships done in summer. One was from a big company, 35-year-old company in UAE, cybersecurity technology solution company, huge company. Second one was a startup, and both of them offered like a job, a full-time job offer, and they were like, "Okay, join." The only problem was the bigger company was like, "No, you'll have to be here whenever we ask you to." and that does not align with my my requirements at that time. Now obviously after you're done with your graduation, then again is the question, like after you're done, then what? See, if you come from like a rich family,
Okay.
money making is not the only goal, then I think starting from a startup is really nice. Just an opinion. See, it's not like they're not going to pay you. Obviously, a good startup will pay you good, but the only thing is you will get so much liberty and creative freedom to make decisions. To like, if you want to be the sole decision maker and if you want to be the driver of that project, then you have to go and work. Startup. If you want to learn from someone and you have to be always under someone, you are like, okay, I'm learning phase, I'm in a learning phase, then probably go there. Obviously, then just compare the packages and make the call.
But also, I worked in a startup, and that startup had grown so much, and it's a huge startup now. Like everyone knows, but I won't take names. I did not get any kind of flexibility in time. So I guess like there's a threshold after which, if the startup crosses it, then it's basically like you're working in a normal company.
But you could take that as an extremely positive thing. Imagine being with a startup from day one, and then when it grows into
Yeah.
MNC, you have a permanent place there. That is, there's one big professional thing.
Yeah.
And then taking a place in an already grown company, they will not think twice kicking you out.
Yeah.
They will not think you are like another average employee walking around, and like you'll be laid off whenever the time comes. MNC, they do have a lot of emotions connected with their employees. That's what I've seen. MNC it's a very close knit family. Sorry, in the startup, very close
The
knit.
startup, not
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Startups are very extremely close knit family. Like if you are there since day one and you grew with them, so like let's say 5-6 years, they will not let you go.
Yeah.
Even
That's
though
true.
if your work quality goes down, they will not let you go easily. This is what I think.
So I feel like people that work in startup, after a point they're just tired and they do not want to work in the startup anymore. We had an HR, so she went from like the startup company that we had, and she left the job like when I was in there and doing my internship, and she went to this huge other company, like really big. It was a real estate company that she went to. I feel like that's a thing.
Yeah, this is also like a very personal thing, not gonna lie. Just personal calls. Sometimes people prefer one over the other. I'm just talking about generic matrix that you have to keep in mind while making a decision. Then obviously everyone is their own masters. They lead their own way. They make calls for themselves. Things work out for some. Things don't work out for some, and they become stories for us to learn.
So now let's talk about the company you are working in.
Okay.
It's an EdTech company, if I'm
Yes.
not wrong. So what is it about basically?
Okay. It's high. Okay. Now the company has so much history now. I don't know if
I
have
think it's
to-
like 10 years old or something,
Yeah.
if I'm not wrong.
Yes, it is. But it got reborn again 5 years back because it just came out of a huge legal battle. So it had to rebrand itself and start from ground up again. Obviously, the people stayed same because they were loyal. They wanted to work for that cause. But the company valuation, obviously, all of it changed 5 years back. And basically, it's an education providing institute, a platform where universities, big universities like Tomorrow University, EU University, University of Holland, all of these universities are partnered up with them, and they are the main provider. They distribute courses from like the nominal courses that span about 3 weeks to like proper degrees, bachelors, PhDs, MBAs, all sorts, on all the fields. So it's a course and education providing company. It has opened a new wing where it's opening its own LMS. So right now they're just a distributing partner. They are opening their own LMS where students can enroll as their own students, and then according to their liking, they can map their own career path. Where they will have personalized bundles of courses and degrees, nano degrees given to them. That is where I work, basically, the new wing. That is where I work. That is where I develop.
I think it's called Wellex.
Yes, it's called Wellex.
So what makes it unique compared to other EdTech companies in UAE?
Okay, when I talk about Wellex, because I am in the Wellex team, Wellex is unique and has few unique selling propositions. First one is that it has an AI powered career mapping system. So at the beginning, when the user is enrolling, obviously I'm not going to drop a lot of information.
Of course,
here.
yeah.
It's not out in the, hopefully it's going to be out in the market soon. But yeah, when a user enrolls in the beginning, it asks you a couple questions regarding to what you are doing currently professionally, your education background, what is your aim. Let's say, for example, it could be from anyone, actual student to a professional in the midlife who wants to just switch their career from top to bottom. Anyone can like enroll, and according to that information, it is trained on an LLM that will fetch all that information, compare the current market standards, industry trends, and give you a tailor-made career path for how much ever time you did select, how much ever time you want to allocate to your learning, let's say 7 hours a week or something like that. So it will all of that is considered into that path making, and then it will give you the best courses for your budget that you have also input in it. So that is one unique thing that currently not many LMSs are doing.
But
also that feature is also for free. I have seen an LMS, few of the LMSs are doing it, but it's
can't
not
you
for free.
Can't you take an AI model and do the same thing?
Obviously, there is patent into it. There is money that goes into training these LMSs. We have RAG models that run on rent for all this information. After a certain point, you can buy these LLM models as well to yourself. So obviously, you have to put in money to get those things working. So I don't know about in the near future if a random kid can vibe code and make this. But currently, the vibe coding will not support because it's when you're like taking a specter of the whole LMS, it is running on multiple components. There are so many layers to it. It's semi-layered on AI, manual, and continuous learning. It's also using OpenAI for information fetching. It has its own chatbot, an in-house chatbot. And a place where courses from all around the world, from all around the universities, come to one place. And it also makes it very easy for the HRs. Okay, there is very nice featuring for HRs that lets the HR have a view of all the employees. Then the HR can assign courses according to the KPIs in the company. So obviously everyone has like a certain point where they want their employees to improve and learn, because it's an insane industry out there. Every day there's new trends, there's new learning. They cannot change employees, but what they can do is improve their employees' knowledge base. So this is where we come in. This is what gap we are filling, and this is something unique that we're putting on the table. And we're like literally taking all the hustle and the bustle away from the HR and the learning department head. So yeah, always your team is going to be well versed, knowledgeable.
And how many members of the team are working in this project?
Currently also it's expanding also, but right now we're about 11 people in the team. Not in the company for this project. It's a project that we're working on, obviously. So yeah, currently 11. We're gonna be onboarding hopefully a new member, 12th one coming week.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
When would this project be deployed?
Okay, the estimated timeline. All right. When we talk about estimated timeline, obviously there were so many uncertain things that happened when you're talking about a huge thing like that. You have like insane amount of unforeseen things happening, and one of the biggest thing was the crash, because we literally used that availability zone to like store our data, and we did not take a replica of it yet. We were in the very first beginning phase of the 12-month free trial phase of the AWS storage, and this happened. So all of our storage actually got crashed. So we're migrating to the Hyderabad region right now. We had also taken in consideration the EU and Singapore region. There were only few say parameters that were coming in hindrance. latency is not that big of an issue, even if you're going all across the globe. You have like few milliseconds of latency, but we had cross-country regional costs to pay. Then we had something called as like UAE law. That UAE law where we need special permission to store the information, private information about these all users in a outside country. That was a huge thing that we had to also debate and work around. So right now we're in the process of reconstructing all of that. Then the rebuilding of the backend also has to happen. Simultaneously, we're working on the database as well. So once all of that is reconstructed, hopefully we're looking at 6 months, within 6 months, a full-fledged first version of the LMS, because already the team is in the sketch of version 2. So we have multiple versions planned of it, but yeah, version 1 should come out within 6 months.
And what kind of tools are you using to, like, I'm guessing you vibe code.
The
doing this.
LMS?
Yeah, a lot of vibe coding would be used, right?
No, I would say vibe coding was only required during the MVP period. The MVP phase, the demo phase, is when we had to pitch this to the investors, when we had to pitch this to the higher ups for the approvals and stuff. You had to show the proof of concept. So obviously there is like you need a quick way around. You cannot sit and like do scratch coding for that. And personally, I had these two tools for MVP and demo building. The Pro Builder version on base 44 helped a lot. Okay, and I would suggest that because it gives the developer insane amount of freedom. Okay, you can get your code, you can edit the whole code like you're doing on your local computer. So that's the whole freedom you get on that. You get an inbuilt database, so you do not have to worry about integrations of the database and stuff. And it comes with an array of integrations. So if you want to integrate Google Sheets into it, you want to integrate LinkedIn, you want to include any kind of socials directly to your app, it's like this. You can link it so easily. It is very easy to use. Then comes like you can also publish your app literally within like under 5 seconds. You're done with it and literally a button will do the job. Then it also gives you an option to like purchase the domain, your personalized domains, and will give you a free for a whole year. So like what more do you need? Within that year you can generate income to like actually purchase it officially. All of that. So yeah, MVP, yes, I did wipe code during the MVP period. Later, obviously, you have to shift to proper development. CI/CD pipeline has to go. DevOps engineer has to come in. All of the process has to be done to get a scalable application, because we're not looking at the local market only. We're aiming the global market. So it should be scalable, strong, agile, available enough. So yeah.
What kind of AI models would there be? Because I just got introduced to this AI model called Claude.
Okay, you got introduced now.
I mean, I knew about it, but like I never used it a lot, and for some reason I just went onto Claude and I was like, okay, let me just try this, okay, and oh my god, like it changed my life.
Yes, it did.
People say, so like I've heard this, I don't remember from where. So using ChatGPT is like going into economy class, and using Claude is like owning your own private jet. And I could see so much of a difference. I was trying to build, so there's a project, the Final project, and I have been like banging my head on this project for like a month now, trying to use ChatGPT, and I'm not getting like proper input. And in 2 days, I could like complete 50% of my project just by using Claude, the free version, not even the paid one. Any kind of other AI models that you would advise?
AI model, like my day-to-day use, I use Copilot a lot, because for studying only, not for research purposes, not very good, I would say. Studying, making notes and stuff, Copilot is what goes handy. ChatGPT, yes. Copilot is the only alternative I used above ChatGPT, because it gives me the ability to upload a lot of PDFs and PPTs and doesn't have a limit to it. I mean, after a certain point, yeah, but like better than ChatGPT for sure. But yeah, this is like a battle of AI. Okay, like today Claude is good. 4 days later, there's something better that's gonna come.
Gamma is coming.
Yeah, Gamma is also really nice. I've used Gamma. Also, then this is like a human behavior. You know, as you get hands on something, you get comfortable to it, and then the nature to like try a change is a little
Yeah,
hard.
that's what happens with ChatGPT.
Yeah, people are stuck with ChatGPT, and I would say even me, I'm not like totally. I've not totally migrated to an AI model totally. I still now and then come back to my ex a lot. I still use ChatGPT on and on. But yeah, obviously there's so many nice alternatives out there. It's all about exploring and whatever you find comfortable, whatever suits your needs. Because like as you said, you're making a proper project. Someone is just using it for like writing emails.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all
ChatGPT
about,
is the best for emails and all of that.
yeah.
Do you think in the far future AWS will have their own AI model?
I have no clue about that. I'm like literally, I'm in a place where like I'm this tiny dot into a huge world, and I've yet to explore a lot. So yeah, sure, probably.
Yeah,
Probably.
I'm pretty sure they would, as such a big company.
I
Well,
mean, you still can make chatbots using these services on AWS right now as well.
promotion is going crazy, huh? Anyways, this conversation was very informative, and again, thank you for being on my podcast. So yeah, that's it.